Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, we'll see how a woman leaves her marriage with 2 children because her husband was too perfect, and also how women are less tolerant of men in marriage compared to men with women. We want to invite you to smash that like button. Let's support the movement. Subscribe to the channel. That's the only contribution we ask of you. Man, add your grain of sand to the movement. Leave us your experience in the comments for any man who needs it. And without further introduction, let's get started.
When the butterflies turn to dust that covered my whole room. Now I'm pacing on.
I'm sorry, but these are such small things that really literally just occur from a man existing in a house. And on top of it, these things are really super fixable. You just have to have a reasonable discussion. There's really no reason for an ultimatum, and especially not a threat of divorce. But even at worst, if he flat out refuses to keep the laundry picked up, the drawers closed, and to stop playing his Xbox as much, is he a good man? Is he a hard worker? Does he make you feel loved? Does he respect you and your opinion? Is he loving and giving towards you? Do you enjoy spending time with him? These are the things that matter, not the stuff. Because if he was worth marrying, it's actually worth doing those little extra things that result from him living in the same space as you. Especially when nobody is perfect, and I'm sure that he picks up the slack and he does things for you. I think that if you can just accept it because it's so small and petty, then do that. If you can't, then just have a discussion about it. Don't make a TikTok and put that man on blast for something that he probably doesn't realize bothers you that much.
This is exactly why my grandmother used to say, dirty laundry should be washed at home. You know what happens in marriages today? The little tolerance women have towards men. There's a stigma that a man has to handle everything perfectly, and he can't have any shortcomings. I once heard this analogy. A woman can have a man who has 80% of everything she wants in a man, but even so, that man will lack the remaining 20%. Women prefer to leave that man to go in search of a man who has that 20% that her ex-husband lacked. When she finds him, she realizes he has that 20% but lacks the 80% that her ex-husband brought to the table. What does this tell you? That you only have 2 options. Either find a solution as a couple to resolve the problem or leave. But if you leave, you'll end up jumping from one place to another because there isn't a person who is 100% in everything. But women don't think that way. They never imagine that men also tolerate many imperfections in them, but because we are tolerant, we let them pass. But women don't. Women want you to be that prototype of the perfect man they have in their minds, and even if you achieve it, they will always find another problem to complain about.
I swear some men only put value on their wives once they are gone, sick, or dead. It is insane that they are fine with putting a fiduciary value on it, except when it comes to stay-at-home moms, except when it comes to just your wife in general.
There are men that do not value women's time and they do not value women's work, especially if it's unpaid work they're doing. I post a ton about domestic labor, the laundry, the cooking, the cleaning, the caretaking, and every time I do, without fail, there are men in the comments who say, that is not hard work. That is not hard work. Why are you complaining? Why are you nagging? Why are you always talking about this? It is not hard work. It is easy, so stop talking about it. That is what they are saying in the comments. And then when somebody has the audacity to ask them to cook dinner, take care of their own kids, do their own laundry, they want to get paid for it. They want to get paid for it. It's not hard work, but if they're doing it, they deserve to get paid. And that's because a lot of these men believe that their time is more valuable than women's time. Women should be doing all of these things, not complaining about it and doing it for free. But if they are doing it, then they deserve to be paid. They deserve acknowledgement. They deserve to be seen as taking on this hardship for their family, for simply doing domestic labor and taking care of their own kids, right? And I'm not just saying this. When women are working full-time, even when they are the breadwinner, they do the bulk of the domestic labor and the caretaking. Even when they're the sole earner, they do a fair share of the domestic labor and caretaking. But when men are the breadwinners or the sole winners, they do a very minimal amount of caretaking and domestic labor because they value their time more than women's time. Even when women say, hey, I'm the breadwinner, I make more money. Men go, well, your job's probably not that hard. Your job can't be that hard because you're a woman. So of course it couldn't be hard. It couldn't be hard, and therefore it's not valuable. I'm appreciative because I need your money and I'm going to spend your money, but actually don't talk about it because it's not hard. So I still expect you to do the laundry and the cooking and the cleaning and taking care of the kids. I understand that you make more money. I understand that you're the only one working, but I still expect you to show up at home. But when women dare to ask of that of their partners, these men go up in arms like, oh my God, what are you complaining about? How could you be mad at me? I have a job, I make money, and you want me to do the dishes? Are you kidding me? My time is more valuable than that. That's all it comes down to. They think their time is more valuable than women's time. They think the time that they spend at work is more valuable even if they're paid less because their work is harder. Because what they do is more important. Because they're a man. That's really what it comes down to. Like, I'm not saying all men. I have to always put that disclaimer. I'm not saying all men, but a lot of men. The data shows it. The data shows that this is how a lot of men think and act. Because if they didn't, then this woman wouldn't be making a video about how she has a job where she literally has men filing claims because women can't fold laundry and they have to do it. And so they need money for it.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
This is what awaits you when you marry a feminist from the purple hair movement. This woman talks about chores, but let me tell you something. How much does a man really dirty when he usually only comes home to eat dinner? Now, let me tell you something else. They complain about doing housework, but if you stay at home and the man supports the family, what part of the work are you contributing to? Making TikTok videos, right? Because if you get sick, your husband pays the medical bill. All the expenses, including the internet, are paid by your husband. The kids' expenses are paid by your husband. The car is paid by your husband. The gas is paid by your husband. What you buy at the store is paid by your husband. When all the financial responsibilities fall on your husband, why is it not possible to keep a clean home? A home that your husband also paid for. They always find something to complain about. Most men today know how to be functional adults. They usually do some chores, like taking out the trash, mowing the lawn, cleaning the pool if there is one, maintaining the car, and fixing things around the house. But according to this woman, the man does nothing. You want to see how noticeable this difference is? Simply look at how a house in a neighborhood looks when there's a couple versus a house where a single mother lives. The yard looks neglected, and the house looks abandoned because she doesn't do the man's tasks. But as I said, the man never helps at home.
Some husbands and some wives end up regretting getting a divorce. For better or worse, in my experience, oftentimes it's the husband, it's the man who's paying alimony, who's paying child support. Men sometimes only think about the short term, what their life will immediately look like after the divorce. They're not looking at the long term. If you're a guy, if you're thinking about leaving your wife, you gotta look at the whole picture before you make that decision. What's gonna happen to the kids? Where are your kids gonna live? Are you gonna have to pay support to your ex? Are you gonna have to divide your assets? Are you gonna have to sell the house? Are you gonna have to buy a new house? Is your life going to be harder by divorcing versus trying to make the marriage work?
How could it not be difficult if 40% of your salary goes to a woman, where you have to pay alimony because she doesn't want to work, where you have to support your children until they turn 18, and you have to leave your house and pay rent? How the hell could it not be difficult to move forward? Men don't regret the divorce itself. We regret the permanent debt that comes with it. Honestly, this alimony for women is just modern slavery, where the man also has to pay child support, which is only for men. When a father has custody of the children, the woman doesn't pay. If a man falls behind or owes more than $20,000 in child support, he goes to jail, but if a woman owes $40,000, nothing happens to her. You've lost half of your savings, your assets, part of your 401k, and still have to keep paying. That's why I always say that a man who gets up from a disastrous divorce is a hero. Yes, because if you are a man without family, friends, or siblings, it's tough. You have to go to a rundown hotel or, in some cases, rent rooms with other men and start over. That's why you never see a man going on a celebratory trip or celebrating after a divorce because all he has left are bills to pay. Alimony should be abolished because it's just a state invention to enslave men.
There's one thing that a narcissist will do 9 out of 10 times, if not every time, when you're having an argument. I was married to a narcissist, and 9 out of 10 times when we had an argument, if not every time, he would do this one thing, and it irritated me so bad. I'm not going to act like I'm a perfect person. I never did anything wrong in my marriage, But this is one thing that I would highly recommend you not do to your spouse, especially when you're arguing, is bring up something from the past, especially if that person has already apologized, you've talked through it multiple times, done what they need to do for you to move past it. So when me and my husband would argue, he would say, okay, well, remember when you did this? Remember when you did this? And he would bring up something that happened years ago, like in the beginning of us dating. I'm just gonna fully expose myself, tell you what happened. Again, I'm not perfect. I was 18 years old when we started dating, and so this is 18-year-old me being stupid and just whatever. Me and my friend wanted alcohol, and our manager was sketchy enough to buy us some and give it to us. And I told him, my boyfriend, who was the narcissist that I ended up marrying at the time, I ended up lying to him about how we got the alcohol. But he was older than me. He was old enough to get his own alcohol, like go to the store, whatever. He was over 21. And I just wanted to be cool and be like, ooh, look, like I can get my own alcohol too. Because we had been dating for maybe like 2 or 3 weeks. So I just wanted to look cool for him. I know it's stupid, but I did. And even though it was a stupid lie, it was still a lie, and I was in the wrong for lying. And I apologized multiple times. I explained the situation, but 2 years into our marriage, 1.5 years, 6 months into our marriage, whatever, he would bring it up every single time. Remember when you lied about this? Remember when you did this? Remember, like, and I would say, I apologize for that. We've talked through it. This was the situation. And he would be like, I bet you're not even telling me the full story. And he would want me to go through that whole story again of when we were dating for like the first 3 weeks of when I lied, which again, I shouldn't have lied. It was dumb. But I apologized multiple times about it, and he would still bring it up as ammo because that was like the one thing he had on me. And why do they do this? They do this to completely avoid any kind of accountability, especially if the argument has nothing to do with what they're bringing back up. We would be arguing about, hey, you didn't put your laundry in the spot that I've asked you to please do over and over. He'd be like, remember when you lied to me? It would be like completely just misdirection. Take the blame off of me and put it all on you for no reason. And again, I'm not perfect in the marriage. I said some things that I shouldn't have said, just like everybody. I'm human. But that was the one time that I legitimately did something that he had the right to be mad about, was that I lied, which again, don't lie. That's dumb. Even if it's a stupid lie, don't lie. You know, there's no point in doing that. But he harped on that for years. And that's what narcissists do. They will take that one little thing where they like caught you. They got you, and they can't move past that one thing, and it will irritate the out of you. It doesn't matter how many times you apologize, work through it, whatever, they're still going to bring it up.
Stop it. Get some help.
Brother, they always tell the story in a way that suits them. When a man complains a lot to a woman about something from the past, it's only because she cheated. She probably got drunk with a friend, and something more happened, and now she says she just bought alcohol. What nonsense. But here's the thing. She feels entitled to insult him, complain about him, but if he complains and reminds her of her mistake, he's the bad guy. But while you're telling me about my faults, that's okay, right? Brothers, responsibility is kryptonite for women because they accuse you of the very same things they do, but if you do it to them, you're the bad guy, right? A narcissist is a woman who always plays the victim in every argument, in every story, in everything that happened in the relationship. She never did anything wrong because she knows she's the victim here. The man is the bad guy. Remember, women don't like to be corrected, advised, or told what to do by a man. If he brought up the past and present arguments, it's because she wanted to do something similar or was thinking of doing things that the man didn't like. But as I said, responsibility for their actions is kryptonite for them.
No. Our generation is cooked. There's no way. Kaka's ex-wife has just come out saying why she actually divorced Kaka, who she was married to for 10 years, saying, Kaka never betrayed me. He treated me well. He gave me a wonderful family, but I was not happy. Something was missing. The problem was he was too perfect for me. You're telling me that this woman married her childhood sweetheart and divorced him after 10 years, even after 2 children, to end up going with a bad boy. So she was married to a Champions League winner, World Cup winner, and Ballon d'Or winner, and yet she still divorced him. Not to mention that this guy's one of the most handsome men in football. I'm not gay, but this guy is majestic, let's be real. Lads, if this guy ended up being single and got divorced for being too perfect, our chances are not even slim. There's no hope for us.
This is quite literally a good man's worst fear. Because I bet you anything that man did everything that he thought he needed to do to be a good husband. The problem with that is when there happens to be a mismatch, meaning what he is doing is not exactly what she needs. Guess whose responsibility that is to communicate it? It's hers, and that's what men are saying. They're saying that you need to communicate this to them because they are not mind readers.
What? Oh my God!
No, brother, that's not it. What happened is that this man forgot his masculinity. This man catered to her every need. He wanted to be the perfect husband. He took away the drama and the opportunity for her to victimize herself. So why did she leave him? Because he bored her. She lived in a golden cage where everything was filled with love. But she, like a bird, didn't want to be there in that perfect place. She wanted instability. Anxiety and uncertainty or instability will always be your best allies. I always tell men to prioritize themselves because a masculine man knows how to guide a woman's energy. He knows when to be strong and when to be affectionate, when to give his woman a bit of salt and when to give her sugar. When you know how to navigate this, the woman stays hooked on the roller coaster of emotions. This man was a sugar loaf. She would say something and he would comply. He always did everything right. But even the Bible says that a loving father corrects. You must learn to say no. That generates respect and boundaries. If he had been the man who at times said no, who put her in her place, she would have entered her feminine energy and wanted to do things for him because she needed his approval again. These women lack a father figure. If you are the simp who always says yes to everything, they will abuse you and get bored. That's why she changed him for a less successful man who gave her less but brought anxiety, instability, and uncertainty. All the drama a woman needs to be happy. Because with Mr. Perfect, she dried up. She didn't feel like being intimate with that man. As I said once, anger and love are both emotions. You just have to learn how to handle them.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay to feel a bit lost. You've never been this version of you before. All the other versions had to fight to get to this one. And this one is brand new. You haven't experienced the world as this version of you before. So it's okay. You're gonna feel a little lost. Give yourself some time. Give yourself some grace. Stay encouraged.
Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, we will see the continuation of the story of the woman who divorced her millionaire ex-husband, how she regrets losing her dream life, how she is angry for listening to her divorced friends, and how dating Chad has only been a path of pain for her. We want to invite you to smash that like button. Let's support the movement. Subscribe to the channel. That's the only contribution we ask of you, man. Add your grain of sand to the movement. Share your experience in the comments for any man who needs it. Without further introduction, let's get started.
Hey, it's me, Jenna. Recently divorced and trying to figure out this new way of life. I'm pretty for sure I'm in a new phase. I don't seem to fit in anywhere. Like anywhere. It's like my whole identity is gone. For 21 years, I was a mom. I did everything as a wife. Then I got separated and was in the phase of like, oh, I'm becoming free. I'm finding myself. I'm getting out of this abusive relationship and had to deal with all that trauma. And now that I'm past that, I'm literally like, what's new? Like, what's more in life? Like, what is there? Like, I want to change everything. And so much has already changed in my life that I'm like terrified that I'm just going above and beyond. Above and beyond.
When I met you, I thought I had found the person that I was going to spend the rest of my life with. I was done. So all the boys and all the bars and all the obvious daddy issues, who cared? Because I was done. You left me. You chose Addison. I'm all glued back together now. I make no apologies for how I chose to repair what you broke. You don't get to call me a whore.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
You have changed things, or you have been changed. I want to keep a favorite phrase of divorced women. I left an abusive relationship. You know, she left her abuser, and now she doesn't know how to fit into her new life. She knows that what she really misses is her lifestyle. These are the kind of women who, in their youth, try to marry a millionaire. She succeeded, not for love, but for money, as we will see later when she cries over a new Chad. But now she is free, going back to what she knows, dressing up, going to bars and clubs trying to catch another millionaire. She says she left an abusive relationship, but we will see later how she regrets leaving her abuser.
Hey, it's Jenna, recently divorced, 47, and giving tips and asking questions about this new life after divorce. And I don't know, I'm in a different stage today. Honestly, I literally have been having a great week, amazing week. And then all of a sudden today, my emotions, I had the craziest thoughts. And I wonder, does anybody else feel this way? Like, I feel like I'm in mourning of the life I thought that I was going to have. And I'm kind of pissed at myself. I stayed in a marriage for 23 years and built up a family and my ex's career and everything. And we literally just got to where it was supposed to be everything we dreamed of. Like, owned a company, making, almost $1 million. And that was my breaking point. And I left it all. And I'm not a person that is about money, and I'm not a person who feels like they have to have like labels and name brands and all that stuff. But I really have found that like I've kind of been in mourning of the like, oh my gosh, like I gave it all up. And I don't have a traditional career. I'm a photographer that in my marriage, it was made to be a hobby. I never could outdo my other. I had to drop everything, to keep up with the family for their needs, to make sure everything built in their career, their business, all that. So it wasn't like I had a 9-to-5 where I got 401, where I got steady income, all that. Yes, I market the crap out of my business. Yes, I'm an amazing photographer. And yes, I have so many amazing clients. They're great. But the reality was like everything was around my family. So when I chose to leave, I gave it all up, like all up. And most people are like, oh, well, you should have got your end in court. No, South Carolina has some crazy, crazy rules. And I came out of a situation where I had been mentally abused, financially abused for 23 years. Like I was gaslit for so long that when I finally left, I had no clue that the worst was yet to come in the 1 year of separation. And so it's weird because I find that I just thought today for a split second, and I'm like, what the hell's wrong with you? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I thought, I should have just stayed. It wasn't that bad. Like, you made it 23 years. You made 26 years total. Your kids are like college and one's almost out of high school. Like, you made it. Like, it didn't matter at this point. They can do their own separate life and all that. You made it to the point where you guys were making so much money and you had big houses and you could do whatever you want and you can relax. And I literally just called my friend. I was like freaking out because like I'm the biggest person that keeps me back. Like I'm terrified. I don't have 401k. My counsel did not have my back. I was so traumatized when I got out and then terrorized for the next year that I couldn't even think straight to help the people that wanted to help me. And the people I entrusted to help me didn't help me. And there's just timelines that you can't stop. And so it is what it is. And, I'm 47 years old. It's not like I'm 25. I'm healthy. Kinda. I have an autoimmune disease, which means it's life-threatening for the rest of my life. Things can change. But it's not like I'm an invalid and can't do anything for myself. But it is terrifying. Like, I could have stayed. I'm so mad that I think this way. I could have stayed. My life would have been so much easier.
Nice. Remember, brother, a man is the only one who marries for love. Women marry for a lifestyle. Many women, when they decide to divorce, always have their friends and the lawyer saying, yes, you deserve something better. Because a woman's worst enemy is another woman. and the other is the lawyer who only thinks about how much his firm will make from a millionaire divorce. So they don't stop to think that maybe things won't turn out as they are told. This is a woman who married young and didn't experience much of the life of debauchery, the Chad carousel. Surely her husband is older now, and she wants to leave him, but she received abuse. However, life wasn't so bad because money can buy happiness, but women forget that it also pays for good lawyers, and that's what her ex-husband did. Women don't appreciate it. They take for granted that the great life they have is due to their efforts, especially when they stay at home. But everything around you costs money, and the man pays for it. Now, as you saw in the intro, she has moved 4 times. As you saw in the first video, she has nowhere to go because she probably doesn't have the money to get into the places she used to frequent. Her life is upside down, and it seems that the nights of debauchery already bore her. But let's see what more there is to tell.
I could have just gone and done whatever I wanted, kind of. I mean, I say that, and then I think as I say that, I'm like, but you couldn't. It's like so weird that my brain thinks that way. And I called my girlfriend and I told her, it was like, I probably should have just stayed. I should have just stayed. It wasn't that bad. And she just started, she's like, Jenna, what are you talking about? Like, literally, they were horrible to you. They told you to shut up. They told you not to breathe, not to eat. Every little part of your life, every day you were miserable and you were crying. You are not remembering that. And then I just keep thinking, I'm like, but I had a huge house and all my bills were paid for and I never had to think how they were going to get paid. My grass was cut. Well, not the last year of separation. But you know what I mean? All the basic things to keep the image up. And I gave up my entire image that I was trained to have for my family for 23 years. Like, I was the stay-at-home mom and I made the image of we were the perfect family. I have beautiful children. They were dressed right. They, did top sports like cheer and football and went to all that stuff. And I was, the cheer mom and, did all that stuff and then did photography on the side just to make money, to make ends meet while he built his career up. And I stayed long enough to just give it all up when it was like right there. And I'm so mad at myself because I'm not this way. I don't think this way. And it's funny because I feel like it's almost made me hard in dating because anybody who is accomplished and all that, I'm like, oh, no, like I'm never going to depend on a man again, ever, especially after South Carolina laws. I want love. Don't get me wrong. I want love. I am a forever girl. Like I have learned in this dating scene, I am not a date around kind of girl. I also learned that I immediately don't want full contact boyfriend. Like I need to heal. And do I want that one consistent where hey, you want to go to a football game? Do you want to go to a bonfire? Do you want to have fun? That kind of thing. Yeah. But do I want to be on lockdown and have someone call me every 5 minutes and be like, what are you doing? Where are you at? No, I don't want that. I've got to heal myself. I've got to make sure whatever's right is right. And if that person comes along in my life and, it continues and it progresses, I hope they're forever, but I'm not searching for it. But it is hard to be a single female when you're 47, when your kids are out. It's not like I have little kids. I always say, if I had little kids, this would be not even a question because that instinct comes in. My kids, I got little kids. I got to get them up for school. I got to get them to here. I got to get them to there. I got to go to work. I got to do that. I don't have that. I'm literally at home. The worst time of my day is after the gym at night when the house is quiet and silent and I just am in my thoughts. And it's so hard. I'm my own boss. If I don't go to work, if I get sick, nothing happens. And my Jenna Murphy photography would just crumble. And I love what I do. I have a passion for it. I love it. But I'm in my head. I'm literally in my head. And I'm booking shoots and I'm doing amazing. I'm so excited. But every time I think future and long run, I freak out because my future was right there. It was solidified. I was comfortable for the rest of my life. Maybe not mentally in my relationship, but financially I was fine. And I gave it all up to be happy. And I know time will come. I know that will happen. And I'm not a materialistic person and I'll never ever be with someone for money. But it's terrifying. Am I the only one that feels this way? I think people just think, oh, well, she's blonde, blue eyes, she's a gold digger, she did this. No. We had nothing when we started. Actually, I had more money than my ex. And, I had my own career. And then as things happened, I stayed home and, followed his career. So I'm just so frustrated with myself. I keep telling myself, I'm like, I remember the bad. It's right here. But I also am like, maybe I should have just stayed. It was like stable in every other area but that. Like, is my mental health really that important? And then my friends remind me, they're like, yes, you're just in that crazy in-between stage. And I'm trying to work through it. I'm trying to work through the process. But it's terrifying. It's terrifying to start over at 47. And I would love any tips. Like, does anybody else feel this way? Like, I know men probably have the same situation too, but I really think it's more terrifying, like me as a female. And I even consider going to different types of jobs and careers, and I love my job. Like, I make good money, but I'm so terrified. I'm like, I don't have 401k. Like, I don't know. Is this another stage of divorce? I'm happy, but I go into these random thoughts of, you gave it all away. Like, was it worth giving away? And I know it was. I know it was for my mental sanity. I know it was for my happiness. It will all come together, but it's still terrifying to start over at this age. Anybody else feel this way? Like, is this any tips? Just let me know. I'm trying to figure it out. And I know I did what was right, but it's hard to know you gave away. My ex will probably never make less than $1 million every year. And I'm starting over. And basically as if I'm a 20-year-old again. And it just doesn't seem fair, but I have to quit crying and just do it. So any tips and advice? Is this normal? How did you get through this stage? Tell me what you did, because I have no choice but to do it.
I'll tell you what happened here. This woman didn't receive alimony from this man. It seems she got the house, but she can't maintain it. To make matters worse, her children are grown, so she doesn't get child support either. In other words, she now lives on her own. She believes that because she thinks she founded the company and is the true creator of that wealth, it should support her for life. But you know why I always say that a woman's worst enemy is another woman? Because she had a friend advising her, telling her to leave because she wasn't happy and to pursue her happiness. That's why I tell you to be aware of who your wife talks to. If her friends are single and divorced, brothers, you'll be next. This is what happened to her. She was misled, and now she misses the great life she had, the places she traveled to, not having any worries, doing whatever she wanted because her husband paid the credit card. Now the house is falling apart. Her kids are traveling with her ex-husband. You know, Daddy the millionaire. She stays home. Her boyfriends don't pay for anything, as we'll see in a moment. She's now bored, missing living without responsibilities. But you said he was an abuser, that you deserved to be happy, that you needed mental health. Now you cry for your ex-husband's money, your abuser. That's what you get for taking advice from divorced women.
I don't even know where we left off.
You were still in a relationship.
I was?
Yep.
Damn.
All I'm going to say is that situationships after being married, the first relationship of any kind that you go through, I think is way harder to get over than even the marriage. So hear me out, and this is why. I've heard this before. I never thought it was true. I thought there is no way in hell. I was married to someone for 23 years. Like, there's no way that the first relationship or situationship that I actually feel something for somebody would be harder than leaving a marriage with children. But it's true. And let me tell you why. Because usually what happens is, by the time a female leaves, she has exhausted every single part of her mind, soul, body, spirit, hope, anything you can imagine to keep that relationship together. She has thought it every way possible, begged, pleaded, just prayed, dreamed for this to work out. Because a normal relationship, if you're going to get married, you're not going to go into it wanting to get divorced. And especially if you have children, a mama is always going to try and keep her babies together, especially with her baby daddy, right? So I never thought that. But as a marriage breaks down and as a woman begs and pleads for that person to give them love, affection, be kind, or whatever it is, the love goes away. And you may be going through the actions and you may be wishing and hoping and praying for all those things, especially if you have children involved. But it's inevitable when someone is treating you horribly for the emotion to go away, for the love to go away. So by the time I got out of my marriage, there was no love loss. And it's funny because I've been everyone seeing my TikToks, and it really does blow my mind when people are like, oh, you need to get over your ex. And I'm like, I've been over my ex for years, like years upon years. I actually had to literally pep myself up in my head to try to even be in the mindset of wanting to be like a couple, and had to literally talk myself into certain things, especially when it came to physical stuff, since he wasn't into that. And so when it was so random, I literally had to convince myself that this was, something that needed to happen to make the marriage work or to make him happy or whatever. It became part of my job, right? So it is crazy when my friends would say, be careful of that first relationship where you actually have emotion. And I was like, no way. I'm not that girl. Never going to be that way. But it's true. It really is true. Because what happens is, by the time I left my marriage, I was so closed off and shut off to being hurt, to being rejected, to being put down or talked down to, or anything else that you could think of, that I was just so happy to get out of my marriage. Don't count all the other drama. I'm just talking about the affection and love part of the marriage. That by the time I had gotten out, I was just so thankful to be out of that toxic environment that I was completely shut off to having my feelings hurt. Now, granted, I had 1 year of separation and there was a whole other can of worms that was thrown into the mix, but the actual love for that person had already been gone for years. Now, don't get me wrong. I want nothing bad to happen to my ex. He will always be the father of my children. Yes, I do not think he's the nicest person, and yes, he definitely put me through hell, but the reality is I will always have deep down affection. I would not call it love, but an affection for him in that aspect that he's the father of my children. He will always be attached to me in some form or shape because I want my children to be happy. I don't want them to ever feel like they have to pick or choose. And as they get older, they will have their own family. So we always be in some type of connection. Granted, it's not in that place right now, but in my mind, as a good parent and as a good future, co-parent, I hope that to happen. But what I'm talking about is when you first get that little piece of energy with that special someone. Now, don't get me wrong. My inboxes are crazy full, all that stuff. There's a gazillion guys I have no connection with, but that one that just for some odd reason, you have no idea why.
Stop it. Get some help.
See what I'm saying? She gets divorced to make videos and seek sympathy. Women are addicted to attention, especially those who got everything in their youth just because of their beauty. Now that she's older, she comes up with the story of her abusive ex-husband and wants sympathy from simps in her comment section. Believe me, there are simps out there that it's embarrassing. But the reality is that it wasn't losing her ex-husband that hurt her. It was losing his money. I bet she won't be happy with any man who comes after him because he set the financial bar too high. Now she's emotionally crying over a Chad, a man who brings nothing to the table but his seed. Now, at 47, she'll go for a younger man who can satisfy her, you know where. That's why it hurts her, because Chad won't stay with a 47-year-old woman. He does what her husband didn't, and now he tells her he doesn't want a commitment. But let's see the second part.
No idea why. That there's just this connection, you've met before, that they just get you or whatever it is. It's different, and it takes that wall down. And brick by brick, my wall came down. And it was funny, you get that first touch or that first kiss or that first, affection and being with someone, not just physically, but mentally and psychologically, and spiritually, and just that want to, and energy that, almost you're butterflies in your stomach, you know what I mean? When you're younger and you're in high school and you just can't wait to see that person, or you can't wait to talk to them and hear about their day, or, just a touch barely grazing their, arm as you walk by is just like electric. And that's what it's like. Like legit, is legit what it's like. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a long process to find that one. And, more than likely that first situationship or that first person in your life that comes into your life is not going to be the one that's going to be in your life forever. But it really is surprising to me how hard that one relationship was to get over. And, deep in the back of your head, you're like, what if, and why did this, or what was the reason this person got my attention out of all the others? And what was the reason that this person made me think that, like, you know what, maybe I could do this again? Like, is this love? Is this what love is supposed to be? Because it was so closed off and shut down for so long that I didn't even know that I could love again. I was that wife that did everything for my children and my husband, and I didn't step out on him and all that stuff. Like, even though I was miserable and unhappy, I was loyal. And it's just crazy to have, like, you don't think of being with anybody else. Like, that was not my mindset. And by the time I got out, I was just trying to heal. So when that person just popped into my life, I didn't think anything of it. I just thought, okay, it's just a simple go out on a date. And then I'm like, oh, wow. Like, I'm checking my phone and, like, did he message, or did he like, or did he look? And then you get that first kiss, or, walking around holding their hand, and you're just like, wow, this is comfortable. Like, I could do this. Like, I want this. And then the moment you have that friendly interaction, the one we all want, and it's, obviously things are not perfect, but, it's comfortable and it's relaxed and it's what you need, and you actually feel like you crave it. Let me tell you, that's just hard to get over, because once you've opened up that door, I don't know about y'all, especially my age group, I'm like, woo, it takes a lot to get my attention. So if you got my attention and you made me want more, it's hard. And you get attached. I feel like I got attached way easier to this person than anybody else. And my brain racks around like that situationship. And people are like, well, how long did you date or whatever? And you're like, we didn't really have like a relationship. It was just the connection and to get to know each other and all that. You know what I mean? So it is crazy, because I found it harder to get over my situationship right after my marriage than it has any other relationship in my entire life. Doesn't that sound crazy? I just don't get it. It blows my mind that I would ever feel a connection for someone like that. Someone I just known for a couple months and talked to for a couple months versus someone I knew for decades. Does anybody else find this normal? Like, I've heard it a lot, but I just never thought it was something real or true. And I guess I'm learning. I also think it's a really good thing too, because you know what it showed me? It showed me that the person that hurt me and broke me and told me I was not worthy and did not want to touch me and did not have any affection for me didn't break my spirit and made me cold to other people. So in a way, it's almost like, even though that situationship was hard and it is hard to get over, I feel like it was the best thing possible, because it let me know that I am not closed off. I am not cold to love. I do want love. I do want affection. I do want someone to be in my life. But it also taught me that just because I feel energy for someone, maybe they don't feel it. And I have to accept the fact that, like, life goes on. And that energy may have been great for you, but not somebody else. And that relationship is over, and to move on. And you're an adult. You're going to find it at some point. Life will happen, and not to force it. So yeah, I feel like situationship was harder to get over than my marriage, which is kind of crazy. But here I am, thriving, moving on, and so open to it. I'm actually excited for the next one. So we'll see. I'll keep y'all updated. But let me know what you think. Is that first relationship after a divorce the hardest one to get over? Or were y'all just running around crazy? Because I've heard that too. Have a good day.
She grieved the relationship while still in it and was surely tired of her ex-husband. who was probably older and couldn't perform as well in bed. But then came Chad, the young guy, and as she says, he caught her attention, and she opened the door to her legs. As always, Chad elevated her emotions. But as always, Chad is a man dedicated to spreading his seed far and wide. He will never make time for a 47-year-old woman on the wall, with kids. That single mother is just for fun. Now she compares Chapter 1 with Chad to Chapter 10 with her ex-husband. Of course, it won't be the same. The years that man endured and gave her everything, Chad will never do that. But I want to note that she says her ex-husband was not an unfaithful man. That guy seems like a typical hard-working beta provider. She broke her marriage to get on the carousel, to go out again like a young girl. But as always, they are experts at making bad decisions because it's not the same at 25 as it is at 47. This is the second part of this story. I wanted to remind you how it goes for women when they leave a high-value man. Always calling him an abuser when they just want to leave him for Chad. But the wall awaited her at the end of her journey because we all know the wall doesn't forgive.
Girl math is when he hasn't taken you on a date in months, never says thank you for anything nice you do, has no work ethic, and plays video games 8 hours a day, and yet you still want him to propose. Girl math. Girl math.
Welcome to the wall. In today's video, we will see why modern women are angry because men prefer to date women who are not in their 30s or older. They want to date younger women. We will explore the reasons for this, as one woman claims that men are not being fair. We want to invite you to smash that like button. Let's support the movement. Subscribe to the channel. That's the only contribution we ask from you. Add your grain of sand to the movement and share your experience in the comments for any man who needs it. Without further ado, let's get started.
So I had a guy troll my video the other day, and this is what he said. Spoiler alert, all the women who are deferring being with who they got will be gravely disappointed in your 30s as your looks go way south. I'm 36 and will never date any women in her 30s, ever. Ignoring the stark grammatical errors aside, let's see if his thesis holds true. Here's a photo of me from 10 years ago at the innocent, pure, desirable age of 22. And here's the photo of me from 20 seconds ago, unfiltered and unedited, looking like the haggard beast that I clearly am at the ripe old age of 32. And while I could expound further on the subject, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, and I've got 2 of them here, so I'll let the pictures do most of the talking. But here's what I will say. Ladies, a man who was born in this country whose first language is English, who doesn't know how to appropriately pluralize the word woman, probably doesn't know anything about women to begin with.
And yet, I prefer you at 22. Even if the woman says she looks better at 32, 10 years later. The truth is, she doesn't understand what this man means. This man is not saying that you don't look good in your 30s. He says you've lost all your innocence, you're more tired, and you've had much more experience. At the end of the day, youth is youth. Just ask the women who spend tons of money on medical treatments to look younger. But here's the thing. A young woman is more beautiful, more fertile, and usually more innocent. She doesn't have those traumas left by Chad. She's a woman who can be molded into the man's picture. But a 32-year-old woman who has gone through several love disappointments, who blames men for everything bad that happens to her, who doesn't take responsibility for anything. She's the kind of woman you won't be able to lead tomorrow because she's an established woman. A woman like that won't leave her world for a man, even if he has more than her, because she's used to doing whatever she wants. Getting involved with women like that means dealing with many headaches, trying to make things work. That's why women on the wall have such a hard time finding a partner, not because they don't look good, but because no one can tolerate them. That's why the troll is right. The wall doesn't forgive.
I don't get it when men say you're gonna grow old alone with cats, as if that's something that's gonna scare us women. Like, I genuinely think the old spinster stereotype is just made up by men who couldn't stand seeing older women unbothered. Like, studies have shown, the happiest women are single and the happiest men are married. The math is not mathing. I think the men are just projecting their biggest fear of being alone for life. Women are not lonely. We have hobbies, we have friends, we have family, and we sure as hell would rather stay single and keep our peace than settle for someone who only brings problems into our lives. That's all.
I think there are so many women in this sort of situation who end up single in their 30s who are amazing. and they don't seem to be meeting the right, well, you know, a
Or
guy
anyone.
that matches up to their level. But I think there's something to be said about the fact that when you are in your 30s and you have your own success and you've built your own life and you're independent, you don't need someone. So they have to be really, really special for you to want to actually invest your time in them.
Brothers, the wall doesn't forgive. You can give yourself all the encouragement you want, talk to yourself in the mirror, and play Rocky training music if you want, but at the end of the day, they're just words, not actions. The fact is you're alone with a cat, at home every weekend. Today you say you have friends who, when they get married, will leave you behind because they have to focus on their family, and you'll be left with your cats. The truth is there are incredible women in their 30s, but as this woman says, they are very independent. You have to be on their level. Women are hypergamous, which means that if a man doesn't have more than they do, he doesn't even exist to them. Many say they want a hardworking man with good values, but the reality is they only want the winner who makes more money than they do. They don't want an average man. They want the one in the top 20%. After their 30s, when they stop dating Chad, they look for the safe man, you know, the beta provider. This man offers long-term financial security and will be their retirement plan, giving them the ring. This man interests them only for financial reasons, you know, someone above their level. But do you think it's fair to work your whole life only to end up being the retirement plan for a woman who spent her life on the carousel being strong and independent?
Why are the most loyal and boyfriend material guys single? This is what I constantly hear from other girls, and I have the answer. I think it all stems that women are programmed to see the ideal man as weak, beta, or sus. And that is why they always fall for the guy that cold approaches them and uses some cheesy, corny pickup line. But then they're surprised when 3 months later they got cheated on. I really think we need to stop romanticizing players and romanticize guys that are nervous to talk to women. Hear me out. I'm talking about the guys who overthink and do not want to cold approach a girl because they do not want to come across as a creep. And girls just don't get it. They're always like, shoot your shot. Like, the worst she can say is no. No, ladies, that is not the worst she can say. Trust me. You see, most guys can easily hold a conversation, but they're afraid to start it. It should be seen as cute or endearing when a guy is nervous to talk to you. He's fidgeting, he's not making direct eye contact all the time, or maybe stepping back and giving you space. Oh, and side note, you're not going to find these guys at the clubs or parties. They're at home.
I'm getting ready to go on a date with a guy that I used to kind of talk to, and I am a little nervous to say the least because I definitely really liked him, and things just last time, the way they ended was definitely my fault. It wasn't anything bad on either part, just it was what it was. So we're gonna have a we're going to have a little cocktail to calm the nerves first. This is not exactly little, but my version of little. So cheers, some prayers.
It's simple. The beta man, as you say, doesn't generate emotions for you like Chad does. A man who brings nothing to the table except his seed. This man creates a roller coaster of emotions for you, which is why, when you run out of options in your 30s, after dating Chads who repeatedly cheat or leave you for someone else, you change your mind and go for the simps. As I said, these nice guys become shy, or like the other drunk woman who said she would go out with a guy she used to talk to and really liked, but he was a Chad who didn't pay attention to her. She was nervous about going out with him and even showed up drunk. You can imagine who will get the action that night, right? I've always said that genuine interest is non-negotiable. She says it's better to pay attention to the shy guy, but usually, women like to be wooed. For the man to be masculine and unafraid of rejection. These simps come to women in droves, trying to woo them, and they always end up last. So don't tell us now that in your 30s, you find them attractive. The truth is, you want a beta provider, and what better than a simp for that stage of life?
You want to know what modern day dating has done to me? Let me just give you a quick example. There's a guy that's been texting me, and yesterday he didn't text me back much, which for me is totally fine. I genuinely just forget to text people back, and I didn't realize that he hadn't texted me yesterday. But he texted me this morning, and he was like, sorry, I was under the weather. I was like in and out of sleep yesterday, but I'm feeling a lot better today. Like, what are you doing today? Blah, 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 blah. My initial reaction, no, you weren't. No, you weren't sick. So don't use that excuse. Just tell me you were with another girl. That's fine. I don't care. Just be honest. Like, you weren't sick.
Why is that my first reaction? Why is my initial reaction like, no, you weren't. You're lying. Just tell me you were another girl. Why is that my initial reaction? And that, people, is what modern day dating has done to me. I have trust issues out the wazoo. And I don't know what to do about that. And I don't, it's not looking good.
Fuck up, you crazy bitch whore!
This is why I say it's difficult to establish a relationship once a woman is in her 30s. She comes traumatized from dating Chads. This man seems to talk to her every day, which I don't recommend because you need to learn to give space so they miss you. This man is probably busy, married, or simply has a job. Only a lazy person has time to chat all day. It just shows the woman that he is a man without options. But what did she think? Is he working? No. He's with another woman, cheating on me, already sleeping with someone else. This is why I say women who date or have dated Chads need to go to therapy to fix their brains and not become so toxic. For us men, this brings chaos into our lives. Imagine if she's like this just because you didn't answer a message. What will it be like when you live together and she doesn't see you for several hours? What will happen to your individual spaces? What will happen when you get a message or leave your phone somewhere? She learned all these habits from dating Chads. This is why men prefer women without so much baggage. Once they're traumatized, it's hard for them to stop being toxic.
If you're single and you know how shitty dating is, listen to this. So about a month ago, I went on a girls' trip to New Orleans with one of my girlfriends, and we met a guy. Friday night, her and I got real drunk, and we went up to this rooftop bar. On the way to the elevator, we ran into this guy who I thought was the elevator guy. We get to the roof. Turns out he was just a patron. Ran into him on the balcony, and we started chatting a little bit more. Found out he was from New Orleans, in town visiting, but currently resides in Denver. So I ask him how long he's in town for. He says till the end of the week. He's about to leave. I say, let me get your number in case we need any recommendations on places to go or anything like that. Saturday night rolls around. That was on Friday night that I met him. And he texted me at like 9:30 and was like, hey, what are you girls up to? We were at the Four Seasons having some oysters, and he was actually across the street at the casino. He said, meet me here. We'll go out if you're interested. Naturally, we decided to meet him out. He ends up taking us all over the city, drives us everywhere. We have a great time, different bands, music, venues, things like that. It goes well. So my friend got really drunk the night before, and she goes, it's like 2 o'clock. I'm going to go back. We take her back to the hotel, and I look at him and I say, are you still going to go out? And he said, yes, I am. I said, all right, cool. I'm going to come with you. We go to like this divey shithole DJ type place. It's pretty cool. Have a great time. And then he kissed me. Okay. Okay, sir. Regardless, we had a blast. Drove me back to the hotel. And we said goodbye. That was it. Sunday rolls around. He calls me at like 1 o'clock and goes, what are you guys doing today? We didn't really know. He goes, okay, cool. I'll pick you up. I'm going to go to this beer and wine garden if you want to come. I'll just scoop you. So we're like, okay, cool. Me and my friend look at each other and we go, all right, this guy's coming to pick us up. Let's go. Later in the night, we basically tag along with him, go to a bunch of different bars. Again, take my friend back earlier in the evening, and then him and I proceed to go out, just the two of us. Him and I are at a dive bar. Love a good dive bar. And he looks at me and goes, I like you. Do you, sir? How could you not like this gorgeous face? So I'm like, okay, I like you too. Yeah, totally liked him. Great time, great guy, all good vibes. Ever since the trip, we've been now talking every day. And in 16 hours, I'm flying to Denver to go and see him. So follow me because I'm going to document the whole trip.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
Chad has it easy, brothers. This is why you don't let your woman go on girls' trips. She tells the story one way, but I assure you there's more to it that she didn't mention. Something else happened. A woman drinking out of town with a man she finds attractive for 2 nights in a row? Yeah, right, just kisses. And now she's taking a plane to go see him. Being Chad is fun because if you create a roller coaster of emotions for a woman, She will seek you out no matter where you are in the country. That's why it's good to learn to develop game. A woman will do anything for a man who generates emotions and has genuine interest. Do you think the nice guy or the simp would have had the same outcome? She would have discarded him instantly. A woman out with friends, drinking, and having fun will go with a complete stranger if he brings something to the table, whether it's physical appearance or money to have fun. But later, she claims to be a saint who doesn't break a plate when she's with you in her 30s. You know she goes on girls' trips doing everything. That's why you see her complaining afterward, because the wall doesn't forgive.
Okay, I've noticed something. Guys that pose like this, doesn't have to be thumbs up, but just in photos, smiling in photos, belong with girls who pose like this. Like kissy face girls. It's just the best combo. Tell me I'm wrong. I'm not. I'm right.
Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, we will discuss an alarming statistic that shows modern women cheat more than men. We will also look at some women who cheated and their stupid excuses for their actions. We want to invite you to smash that like button, support the movement, and subscribe to the channel. That's the only contribution we ask from you, man. Add your grain of sand to the movement. Leave us your experience in the comments for any man who needs it. Without further introduction, let's get started.
Why did you cheat on me?
I was ovulating. You don't know women. You haven't grown up with women. My body, I was just listening to my body. We are chemically created. I have this chemical thing in me where I have to reproduce. My body, I was just listening to my body, you know? I was at the club, there was a man there, cute, a couple drinks in. I was like, my body was like, reproduce.
What are you talking? So you're blaming science for you cheating on me?
Yes, I had no control.
Okay, yeah, you didn't have to go home with him.
You obviously don't understand what it's like being a woman. Like, my body is chemically built so that I have to reproduce, and I was just listening to my body while I was ovulating. My body was screaming.
All right, well,
my eggs were like, let me intertwine with his sperm.
All right, fine. I cheated on you too.
You know how it works. What?
I cheated on you too then.
What the fuck? Your body's not built the same way. You're an asshole.
Okay, I didn't cheat on you. I just wanted to see how you like it. It fucking sucks.
Men suck. You guys are the worst.
Can you imagine the stupidity of listening to a woman talk about biology to justify her infidelity? The modern woman, brother, is anything but loyal. Nowadays, modern women cheat more than men, and they do it for such stupid reasons like seeking attention or simply out of boredom. Can you imagine a man saying he is unfaithful because, as a man, he will try to access as many sexual partners as possible? Because we all know that a woman's infidelity is not the same as a man's. A man does his thing but doesn't get emotionally involved. A woman, on the other hand, does. She disconnects from her husband when she wants to be unfaithful. That's why you see the first signs of infidelity in women being that they stop being intimate with their husbands. And today, the number of divorces due to a woman's infidelity is on the rise. 3 out of 10 marriages where the man files for divorce is because the woman was unfaithful. A man rarely leaves his woman even if he has another. When you see a man wanting to leave, it's because the woman was unfaithful. It's the biggest reason men abandon marriage.
My ex-boyfriend of 6 years. Love him. Really good guy. The last year of our relationship, I started cheating on him with a guy in LA. And that guy was the one who told me, break with your boyfriend, move to LA.
Was he cheating on you too, or?
He's a good boy.
Why did you cheat on your 6-year relationship?
I was so bored and so young, and just like, when you're that young, it's like you don't know what you want in life. And like in the moment, it seems like a good setup and you think you're happy and content. And then you reach like 2021 and you're like, oh fuck, like I have a lot of life to live. And like I didn't want to stay in Nevada. And then I met this guy who was like my dream guy, who was like so fucking hot. And like my ex-boyfriend of 6 years, he stopped having sex. Like I wasn't sexually attracted to him. It was just like we were so comfortable and like family and like roommates at that point. But like just there was no sexual romantic aspect to it. So then I met that guy and...
Brothers, all women have a man hidden in the closet. The typical guy who charms her through social media and catches her interest. Sometimes it's a simp she keeps in the friend zone. And sometimes it's a Chad she's monitoring herself, because believe me, she won't just stay wanting. Look at how this guy got played. 6 years in a relationship, and she was cheating on him, saying it with a smile. He's a good guy. And these are the women who destroy all the good in a man. They ruin him mentally, make his life impossible, because they keep him as the official or the safe guy while planning their future with the new Chad or cheating with simps who keep adoring her. Why do you think relationships with modern women don't work, especially in cities like Los Angeles, New York, or Florida? Because women, even in a relationship, are always looking for a better deal. That's why those cities always have videos of gold diggers that go viral. You see women saying they are married and still getting into a guy's car. I've seen videos where they are directly proposed to go to a hotel, and they say yes, like it's nothing. So what faith can we have in women if they all lie?
The new studies now show that women cheat more than men.
The current
50% of married women have a backup guy. Here's the thing, guys.
Sure.
We teach guys to mitigate risk. When men get in relationships with women, they take on far more risk than a woman does. We live in a world now where if you get married to a girl, she can clean you out, take you on alimony, child support, you lose the marital home, etc. Guys take way more risk when they get in long-term relationships with women. So I tell guys, we live in a society where women are encouraged to be hoes, to be promiscuous, to exercise their options, to go ahead and get the best guy that they can get, to date multiple men at the same time. They're encouraged to have all these bad habits that are not conducive to good long-term relationships. So the only way that you can combat this through feminism and everything else that's going on in the modern day world is you need to be very strong in your principle and very strong in your frame. When a girl's with a man that she loves, admires, and respects and knows that this guy will leave her if she does some stuff like that, that in itself is the power where the girl's not going to say, okay, I want to go to the club or whatever, because she knows better. She knows I'm with a winner. I don't want to put myself in a situation where I can effectively be single by going out to the club with this guy. You need your girl to be more scared of losing you than you are of losing her. And that's where I want guys to be. I want them to be in a situation where the girl likes them more than they like the girl. And I know that sounds evil, but the reason why is because that's the only way you're going to combat the amount of options that women have, the bad habits that modern day women have and practice with the, dating multiple guys, being promiscuous, etc. You need to have the girl like you more than you like her, because that puts you in an authority role, a leadership role, makes you the dominant in the relationship, and it will have her be loyal to you.
Respect.
Because quite frankly, the main thing that men care about when it comes to women is loyalty.
Yeah.
That's really what we care about. Women, on the other hand, tall, money, charismatic, charming, confidence, does he dress well, does he smell well? Men, all we want, be pretty, be loyal.
And she might like you, but does she respect you? That's huge, bro.
I completely agree. Something to add is the concept called the choice trap. Let me explain. Women often fall into this. Before social media existed, women usually got involved with someone from their community, university, family friends, or their friends' boyfriends, and occasionally with a traveler in their city. But nowadays, with all the applications available, women always find a new suitor, which means they have too many options to choose from. This leads them to fall into the choice trap because they won't pick someone who shares their values, but rather someone who artificially has the things they like. That's why you see them jumping from one man to another, sometimes several at the same time, because they don't want to lose any or settle for just one. How does this leave us men? In constant competition, not just with the guy from your city, but with a guy who could be in another state or country. That's why a man should not be an option but a necessity. Learn to be masculine, to put yourself in a position where you are the one choosing. Work on yourself so much that you don't accept someone who doesn't respect you or align with your values and principles. Don't settle for a woman who makes you feel like she's doing you a favor, but for a woman who performs acts of service for you, who strives to stay in your life, who shows with actions that you are the man she wants. This way, she will be faithful because you were strict. You were a man who was hard to get because she invested in you and doesn't want someone else to take you away because she didn't take care of you.
And what do you think the difference is between that? What would you call respect?
Because when you have boundaries, she follows them.
Bam.
She likes you, she'll do whatever she wants. That right there tells you how she really cares about you. And that, guys, for most guys, is like, you know what? She likes me. She doesn't respect me.
Yeah.
That goes along.
And here's the other thing, too. Sure. The reality is, and this is why our podcast is so popular nowadays, most guys don't have the balls to tell their girl, hey, I don't commit to girls that like to go to the club. I don't commit to girls that like to go on girls' trips, etc. Most guys are happy with whatever they can get. Yeah. So they'll tolerate disrespect. They'll tolerate bad behavior. They'll tolerate crass attitude, disrespect in front of their friends, getting cursed out, even attacked sometimes, because the need for getting laid is that strong where they'll tolerate female bad behavior all the time. So I tell guys, You need to be on point and not tolerate that bad behavior because it will make your life miserable.
Yeah. What
You
bad
need that
behavior
respect.
do you see on the men's side?
Being bums and losers, and not having frame, not being an authority in the relationship, and not being willing to tell women what you like and what you don't like. Because most guys would prefer their girl not to be in the club. However, they can't tell her that because their sexual market value isn't high enough to dictate those terms. So they can't tell a girl anything because they got the girl by the skin of their teeth. So how are you gonna tell her, hey, I don't commit to girls that go to the club? You should be lucky I'm here, and that's the problem.
And if you're a guy, right, that doesn't want to succeed in life, become better, you're selfish. Because once again, let's say we want to get a family, right? If you're not your best version of yourself, that means you're going to suffer. So I want to say, honestly speaking, like, if you're a guy that wants to succeed in life, you need to improve. Most guys, what do they want to do? Play video games, smoke weed, relax. And that leads to what? Nothing. So it's just sad, man. It's really sad.
Yeah. So I think guys really need to be willing to have boundaries and enforce them. And a lot of guys don't have boundaries, and worse yet, they don't enforce them.
I agree. I think boundaries is important, and I
Yeah.
think obviously enforcing boundaries is important because what would a boundary be if it wasn't enforced?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think like, look, providing that not an ultimatum.
Oh, the club exam.
Yeah, I think
Keep
if
going
you
back to
go
club
if you
exam.
go to the beginning of the relationship and you establish the boundaries and you set precedent and everything, I think that's lovely. I think anyone can do whatever
That's how you gotta do
they
it.
want. Yeah. Okay. If,
Well, yeah, it's not like you're going to drop this on her a year later and be like, oh, yeah, by the way, you can't go to the club. No, she knows when she first meets you what type of guy you are. Because here's the thing, guys. Women know what kind of guys they could play with and what guys they can't play with.
Facts.
Okay? They size you up when they meet you. Oh, this guy's kind of a pushover. I could get away with this. Oh, this guy, I can't get away with this. He's going to leave me. You need to be that guy that's the latter. If I do some BS, he's going to leave me. Because as a man, that's your only power in 2023. Women have all the leverage when it comes to dating nowadays. But they still want relationships. They still want to be with that guy. You need to become that guy and let them know this relationship is contingent upon your behavior. I will not tolerate BS from you. And if you do, I will go ahead and replace you with another girl.
Right on point. Brothers, have you ever heard the saying, you're not with who you want, but with who you think you deserve? This is so true. There are men who are with women who don't respect them, don't admire them, don't treat them with love or respect. They stay in these relationships for years, relationships that steal their peace and make them unhappy, simply because they don't feel they deserve better, or it's just because of intimacy. They endure mistreatment for years, and when she finally leaves them, because they don't leave her, they end up with their heads messed up. That's why I always say your greatest priority should be yourself. I've never known or read about a man throughout history who got far by prioritizing others. A man must always focus on himself, take care of his physique, his finances, acquire assets, demand respect, and have values and principles that he follows without breaking. When you become that man, women see a leader, someone they can trust, someone who can show them the way when they are indecisive. Believe me, they love this. A strong man who does what he says he will do. A man who tells it like it is when they are being difficult. A man who goes after what he wants. So, learn to love yourself. If you don't make yourself your top priority, you will suffer a lot. Women can smell a manipulable man from a mile away, and she will do things to you over and over again because she knows you will never leave. You will always forgive her. If you don't believe me, watch what a weak man does in the following video.
The one and only reason why this chick is bawling her eyes out, homie, is because she is sorry that she got caught. You gotta understand, homie, when these chicks get dug the fuck out behind your back and you catch them, that is the number one thing they did not want to happen. They're gonna sit there going, bitch, I love you. They don't love you, G. They don't love you. You need to learn to pack your shit and go. You guys gotta understand the power of being able to walk away. Power of being, oh, you know what? I don't give a fuck. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, genuinely, like, have a good rest of your life. It's going bad for the motherfucker. I'm telling you, they won't know how to react. No reaction is the best reaction. You gotta be colder than that. Alright, cool. Alright, yeah. I genuinely was planning on leaving you anyway, so it's alright. You know what I mean? Like, just cold little shit. Like, why is he able to leave so fast? Why does he not fight for me? I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I don't give a fuck. That is the best mentality you will ever have in your life. Towards every situation. You gotta be stronger than that, homie. Your mindset is everything. You need to focus on just building yourself. You know what I mean? Mentally, physically. Elevation, homie. You know what I mean? Just focus on improving your life in every single fucking way. Climbing up that goddamn ladder to success.
Brothers, never, ever ask a girl who cheated on you for reasons why she did it, because you already see what happened. In the end, you don't need reasons for what you already know. If you ask, it's because you don't want to leave, and that is the worst decision you can make in your life. Once trust is broken, it will never be fixed. If she cheats, what should you do? If you discover it, then coldly don't say anything and just leave. Disappear from her life. Block her instantly. If she's your wife, call her father or mother to come pick up her things. Call a lawyer immediately and let them handle the communication. The woman won't know how to respond to the shock of this entire mess coming down on her. She won't know how to act. It will hurt her immensely to know you said nothing. Just cut her off. Didn't fight for her. Women have a bigger ego than men. Always remember that the opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. I know it hurts. I know you feel like you want to die. If you need to cry, do it in private. If you need to talk to a friend, do it. If you need to go to therapy, do it. If you need to take a few days and go on a trip, do it. But don't go back to her. Start your healing journey. Go to the gym, work on your finances, prepare mentally for the divorce, and think about how the relationship with your kids will be afterward if there are any. But have nothing to do with her. She will seek you out, beg you to come back, but you must stay loyal to yourself and leave. The wound she inflicted on you, you're giving back double just by cutting off all contact, not saying a single word. That will eat at her mind for years. As I said, the opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, the questions are for you. What was the worst thing your ex did when you left her to recover? Have you ever been cheated on? What did you do at the moment? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your support means the world to us and motivates us to create more content. Stay tuned for the next exciting video from the wall.